Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the IBAC Tech Trek, where we search the outer realms of space for the best in insurance technology. I'm Tom Reid, your science officer on this journey, and beaming aboard to join me today is Mohammed Hanini, CEO and founder of Koios Intelligence, and Charles Dugas, Senior VP of Sales for Koios. Gentlemen, welcome aboard. I think we'll get started with a round of introductions here. So I'll start with Mohammed. Mohammed, can you give us a brief bio on yourself, please?
Yeah, thank you. I'm Mohammed Hanini. I'm the CEO and CDO of Koios. Well, to summarize my experience, I would say I spent the last 20 years between operation research, machine learning, and software engineering in the academia space and the industry as well.
Awesome. And Charles, over to you.
Yes, sure. So I started in natural science and then went into machine learning. I was at the University of Montreal for a while. So that's where I met Mohammed about 20 years ago. Worked at Olivo for 6 years and then went into AI. I've been in the AI space for the last 7 or 8 years, I'd say. Recently joined Koios with Mohammed. It's been about a year and pretty excited to be on board now and doing this podcast today.
Awesome. So it's no exaggeration to say you guys are probably the most experienced AI practitioners that I have ever had in this podcast. So congrats on that. I also have to add a point that Charles and I used to work together at Aviva,
right,
where Charles was in charge of Aviva's R&D team. It came up with all kinds of weird stuff that turned operations on its head from time to time, which sometimes was great, sometimes was really annoying. So anyway, welcome, guys. So we're going to talk today about your Olivo platform. And so let me get started with just the real basics. Like, what is Olivo? What does Olivo do?
I guess I can start. Actually, we have revolutionized the way policyholders and brokers interact by introducing a hybrid platform combining voice-enabled conversational AI platform powered by like a call center. So the goal here is to really eliminate the waiting time for whether customers, build the kind of connection between customers, brokers, and eventually underwriters.
Awesome. So you're essentially using your AI to supplement a broker's sales staff or a broker's service staff or a carrier's underwriting staff.
Yeah, we try to simulate a real human conversation for most of the processes. So the idea is to train an AI based on natural language processing to handle whether the quotation process or the policy updates, because we think that over 80% of that journey can be really handled by an AI virtual assistant. So we may avoid allocating those tasks to a human to collect the data, personal information, vehicle information, legal information as well. I really think that even the brokers are more engaged with coverages, advice, and more complex tasks to manage and build like a real relationship with the customer rather than spending over 40% of their journey collecting admin and personal information. So, and the idea is to actually, as Tesla did, I think we want to be minimalist, and we wanted to offer that platform for several channels. That was our constraint when we started building the technology. So how can we finally merge two virtual supply chain within a single virtual supply chain, which means as most of the, let's say, chatbots, virtual assistant providers, they usually choose whether the web concentration or the phone concentration. So since we started, we said, no, we want to have a unified AI supply chain that enable us to mount an AI virtual assistant, whether through the web or through the phone. So a single instance that can handle both those channels, which reduce the cost of the production for us, and which means for our customers as well.
You take away all of the mechanical aspects of the interaction so that the broker can focus on the value add, and you do it in a way that, you know, whatever approach the customer wants to take, whatever tool the customer wants to use to interact, you can manage that, whether it's phone or keyboard or text or what have you.
The idea is to really improve the conversion rate, augment all these, the outdated interaction, form-based, very static. We can't ask why a carrier would like to have our birth date, our address, and all these risk factors. So it's really it's an educational tool for customers, but also for internal employees who just onboard the organization. So what if we just align the answers of a senior broker with just someone onboarded? So what if we just support the new employees with an AI virtual assistant so they can answer and reach the quality of a broker? And that's how now our customers are using it. So they are exposing that conversational AI platform to their customers, but they are also using it internally to enhance their operations, whether sales or policy updates.
Awesome. So what lines of business are supported by Olivo?
Yeah. Well, in 2017, we started working on personal lines. So we launched on production over 10 personal lines: auto, home, condo, tenant, snowmobile, RV, and most of the toys. Since I would say 2021, we started building commercial lines. We built 12 commercial lines, like auto, commercial, agriculture, cybersecurity, construction, and beauty insurance, and so on.
One of the things that's really important within the insurance value chain is integrating systems to each other. So Olivo, probably has some integrations with other tools. Can you talk about what systems that Olivo does in fact integrate with?
Yes, definitely. We are here to improve and enhance the broker experience and the user experience. So, just exposing a virtual assistant is not enough. We may think about the whole value chain of our customers. And so we started. So we partnered with Applied System to synchronize our virtual assistant with the Applied Rating Service and Fortress API. So let's say all the collected data is pushed to Applied Rating Service, and through the SDK we are able to make all the policy updates, initiate the renewals, send an attachment, get all the attachment. So that's how we recognize all the existing clients. So we just need to fetch the data based on personal information, and then display the summary of the client, so then the clients don't have to refill the information, like again and again. They just need to.
Okay. So whatever information that a client has given to the AI Olivo is automatically then entered into IBAC for the broker then, so the broker doesn't have to do it again, essentially.
Sorry, Tom. IBAC, as we discussed about, like mainly about applied, just a quick update that we are fully integrated to Guidewire as well. So we integrated the virtual assistant to Policy Center and Producer Engage through Nexus, our partnership with EY.
Perfect. So let's talk about business impact, and Charles, I'll direct these questions to you. So you have been in business for a number of years. You've got clients who've been using Olivo, who've been experiencing various benefits. So maybe you can just give us some insight on how the tool, how Olivo does in fact improve a broker's efficiency and productivity.
Yeah, for sure. So as was mentioned, the tool, the virtual assistant is able to provide answers to regular questions, common questions that are typically answered by brokers. So that's saving up that time. And so that enables the customer to gain confidence and get answers to these questions before they onboard on a process. And most of these processes require data collection. So that data collection, upfront data collection, can be handled by the virtual assistant. And then, as was mentioned before, that leaves the broker with the task to, provide advice and finalize transactions. So it can be that the virtual assistant has 80% of all the questions, and the broker only needs to ask the very last few questions. And so because there are all these integrations that are built, that enables, or alleviates a problem of data entry. So all that data is pushed to your broker management system. It's all available for you to work with. One thing that's important in AI application is also that handover from machine to human. And so that's something that requires a lot of software, because what you want to do in that context is make that an efficient transition. And so when that happens, the solution transfers over the conversation that's been happening between the client and virtual assistant. That conversation is transferred over to the agent. And not only, the sequence of questions, Q&A, or the process that's been handled, but also the data is being displayed so that it quickly provides the broker with a view of the client, view of the customer. And we also provide some areas where there might be some concerns. So for example, if you think of auto quotes, insurance quotes, there might be an issue with the number of convictions with a certain client. So you'll see some exclamation mark that drives the attention of the broker towards some of the issues that might be important with an application. So we're trying to provide an environment so that transition is very efficient to the broker. And so for our clients that are using the platform that way, what we get as what they report to us is efficiency gains that are in the range of 40 to 50%. And that's for quote process.
So you said 40 to 50%?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow.
So half the time, there's going to be situations where the client just initiates the bot and quickly they just want to talk to someone. If they click on that button, of course, you have to go through the entire process with a broker. But in a lot of cases, in a large number of cases, we're seeing 70% of clients are filling the entire form to get a quote, and they just finalize a transaction with a broker. And in that case, that's the best scenario, because all you're doing is providing maybe some remaining advice regarding deductibles and coverage, and just finalizing the transaction. And so, but on average, again, between 40 and 50% of time savings. So that frees up your people for either providing value added service, or just handling more business.
Awesome. So next question I have is talking about the client themselves. So we just talked about how a broker gains from using a virtual assistant. What's the client experience look like? How do they feel after they've been talking to the virtual assistant?
So we want to make this like the one-stop shop for prospects or clients, current clients. They just come to the virtual assistant and they can get an answer to their questions or initiate a process that they want. And so the AI engine behind the virtual assistant is very good at understanding intent. So, and that can be given in natural language. So any way you mention it, the bot will be able to figure out that you want to ask a question, or you want to get a quote, or you want to log in and make a policy change. So we've got hundreds, if not and thousands of intents, customer intents that we've mapped and we're able to identify quickly. So you don't need to navigate around or go through, a tree of questions that will enable the system to figure out what you want. Initially, you just say, tell us what you want, and then the virtual assistant will be able to quickly initiate that process. So that's very good for customer experience, is that it's this quick ability to get things done. And so we're able to address a large number of intents, and we're trying to now, our task is to broaden our scope. It's kind of three-dimensional. We want to be able to address all channels, so digital and phone. Mohammed mentioned that we recently launched our telephony system where you can speak to a virtual assistant, and all digital channels, whether web, customer portal, Facebook, Instagram, social media. We can cover all of these channels. And then you got products. So Mohammed mentioned we cover essentially all personal line products. We've launched aviation a while back, but now we're launching commercial auto, commercial property, cyber, and there was a long list of products that we'll be launching over the coming weeks and months. And finally, you've got processes. So advice, we can provide Q&A, quotation, we can provide policy change, renewals, and eventually we'll get to claims. So that defines the scope of what we intend. And finally, I want to mention that we're providing the client with options, right? So when they're chatting with the bot, the last thing you want is that the client feels that they're boxed into that chat bot and they can't get out of it. What we do is provide the ability for the client to connect with a live agent, stop the conversation, connect with a live agent, or they can stop also and schedule a meeting. So we've got integrations with Microsoft Booking, Calendly, and some other scheduling systems, so that the client can just stop, book a meeting, and then have that meeting at their convenient time. And so when the client connects to the agent, there are different modes of exchange. You can do live chat, but they can also initiate voice discussion. So they can talk to a broker, or they can even trigger a video conference with the live broker. So it's a lot of options for the client to, make them sticky so that they stay with you, with the firm. If not with a bot, then they're connected to an agent and they can pick the channel they want. They can pick the mode of conversation they want. We try to accommodate whatever needs that they may have.
So all these positive outcomes, the ability to have more brokers talking to clients, the opportunity to engage with clients how they want to be engaged with, that has to translate into additional sales opportunities and additional growth for the broker. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So number one, easy one, you're suddenly available 24/7, right? With the bot, it's online all the time. It's able to conduct your processes. If it can't quote and bind finally, it can capture everything and then buy quotes, and then the final bind will be scheduling meeting if that's off hours. And so we're providing that ability. If your lines are busy, or over the phone, we can provide with the virtual assistant that you can talk to. We also have the option to send a text message with a link so that the person can fill the information online. So we're directing from phone to digital channels. That's another option we're offering as well. But also we're looking at closely at the sales funnel, starting from when the client comes and triggers the bot all the way to the moment they get a quote. And we keep all the data from all of our clients, and we've had clients on the platform for 4 years now. And so from start to quote, we look at questions, we look where clients drop off. That being said, we can also provide you with what we call partial leads, is clients that provide maybe half the information, but that leave you with email or phone number so you can call them back. That's all pushed to Epic. And so in a lot of cases, we've done some A/B testing, trying to different approaches to improve completion rate. And so we're able to provide our new clients with advice on not only our part of the job, start to finish, but how to adapt their websites so that they convey the traffic towards the virtual assistant and trigger that process via the virtual assistant. And so we get a lot of insights with our clients, and we're able to benchmark our new clients with our body of existing clients to tell them, here's how you're doing, and here are some areas where we could look with you to improve your sales funnel.
Well, that's great, because I could tell you, when a normal person is presented with a tool that is so flexible, you can do many, many things. Sometimes you end up doing nothing because it becomes too complicated, right? So the ability to provide benchmarks and guidance on implementation is super important.
We can provide pretty good guidance to our clients, and then they're obviously free to choose, but we have some pretty good data to back up our suggestions.
Speaking of data, obviously the security and privacy of data is top of mind, or should be top of mind, for everybody. So, Mohammed, can you talk about how Koios and the Olivo platform ensure the security and privacy of a broker's client information?
Yeah, the security is a top priority for us, but should be a top priority for any tech company. And the way we tackle finally all the security layers, we first comply with SOC 2 standards, and even go further. So we, again, utilizing end-to-end data encryption, authentication, and authorization in all our layers and applications. So we have bi-directional SSL implemented. We, how can I say, so we are using secret managers for our employees, but indeed a secret manager in our application. So just to make sure that each application connection has a token, and that token is well secure. So of course we have a couple of firewalls, VPN as well. We monitor every single customer interaction as well. When we see that there is how can I say, an outlier interaction, it will pop up, and we have tools to monitor those outliers.
So you've got all sort of the static things like authentication and encryption and so on, but you also have some active, dynamic tools to monitor anything outside of the normal parameters. Okay, that seems like a best practice.
We are also, let's say, all our clusters, the cloud clusters, are based on a private cloud. So we are not actually sharing like any resources with foreign machines or virtual machines. So we are handling our own virtual machines, even in the cloud.
So we put the security one to bed. Let's talk about scale. So you have some large brokerages as clients. You have some brokerages who aren't quite as large. How does Olivo scale to meet the needs of the larger brokerage versus the smaller brokerage?
Yeah, I think scalability is one of the most important dimension for a tech company, because every single improvement impacts all our clients. So we built like a main kernel and several kernels for each business line to enable us to reduce our AI cost. So we built those kernels and encapsulated those kernels with images to make sure that we thought that we reduce any kind of redundancy. So for each update, that update will positively impact all our customers, including our brokers. This is an example of scalability, as I mentioned earlier, the fact that we leverage the voice component to and integrated with the phone interface to make sure that each instance can be mounted whether through the web and the phone as well, which is really not standard in the industry.
Okay, so thanks for that, Mohammed. So finally, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume you guys are not a charity and that you're actually a for-profit business. So how do you price the tool?
The cost structure is pretty simple. We price the tool based on the instance, a virtual assistant, or for each business line is an instance, and we then count how many brokers will use the call center, because the virtual assistant is really empowered by a call center where we embed the virtual assistant as well, so they can share the conversation between the sessions of the customer. So yeah, we have a per user license as well. We customize the platform based on the internal processes of the broker. So we have install fee for that kind of customization. Now, regarding the channels, as we deploy the IVR as well. So usually most of our customers start with the web channel, and then add the phone channel. And usually, when we have an existing web client, usually adding the phone can be the cost of that addition can be significantly reduced. So we usually offer a good discount for the customers who bundle the web and the phone.
So it's essentially based on the number of lines of business and the size of the operation, essentially. Then there's opportunities to, I presume you can start small and grow over time as they get more comfortable with the tool.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on how many business line you would like to launch with the virtual assistant, and how many brokers would you like to include on those operations. Usually we start with a group of brokers and our clients expand that group.
So that's great. Thank you very much. I've got all the information I need. Now, I do want to ask you guys a bonus question. So AI obviously is a big buzzword these days. You guys have been developing, either studying or developing AI tools for much longer than anybody else has sort of been aware of the existence of some of these things. 2 years from now, let's take a, I normally ask people for a 5-year prognostication, but let's go 2 years because this stuff is moving very fast. In your opinion, where do you see, what percentage of carriers and brokers do you think will be using AI tools 2 years from now? Do you see this really taking over the insurance industry, or do you see it being a really slow build? Where do you see AI going in terms of the insurance industry in Canada?
Maybe I can go first. I think definitely what we're seeing with brokers is there's a lot of appetite for these solutions. They understand the benefits. And with a lot of our clients, we start small. We start with one product that's a simple one. And so they get acquainted with the solution, the platform, and that's the starting point for them to think of potential applications. And then they scale the solution across different products. But it takes a bit of time to figure out or understand the benefits and see in action that the bot has answered 1,000 questions from clients and so on. And so we definitely see a lot of brokers are very interested. We go to conferences, we meet brokers, spoken with quite a few are together. There's definitely appetite there. With insurance, we're discussing with them, but we know that internally they're testing different technologies. I think what's a bit of a distraction is all the talk about Gen AI. And so that's a branch that is a great tool, a great technology, but not necessarily well suited for customer interactions especially within financial services that's heavily regulated. And so the main issue with Gen AI is this probabilistic answering, right? Because you're not 100% sure that the answer to a question will be the same depending on how it's asked. That will trigger a different and slightly different answer. And so that can be an issue within insurance and lead to potential liability suits and so on. So it's something to be wary about. So insurers are spending a lot of time with Gen AI applications. They're looking at it internally mostly. But our solution is really about understanding customer intents. And so we're using AI to understand what they want, but the answers that we're giving are all very prescriptive, very well crafted and validated by the compliance teams of our clients. And so that's, I think, is the right approach. And then you can consider like a very small potential use cases for Gen AI, but really the bulk of your business should run on a platform that is handling or using that approach of AI. And so I think we're starting to we're having good discussions with insurers as well. And so we see that they will likely get started, but again, that's likely to be on a sliver of their business until they understand and they get comfort with the technology, and then they start expanding.
Okay, awesome. Mohammed, did you want to add anything to that? Or
I really think that the customers will just speed up that adoption, and it's really up finally to the customers. And what we see actually since the launch of ChatGPT, that AI interaction became totally democratized, and which drives that change of the customer's behavior. I really think that will speed up the adoption, whether for brokers, carrier, and the insurance industry in general. It's really it's not a future anymore to expose an AI virtual assistant to help your customer like shopping insurance or update their policy. So maybe I'm too optimistic, but frankly, this is something that should be it's not going to be a nice to have anymore. It's going to be a must to have. And well, when we started like in 2016, and it took a while, not frankly because the insurance industry was slow, just because the customers weren't ready to, to have that kind of interaction. And we saw now that, that change of posture, that customers are totally engaged with, ChatGPT. They really get used to, have that kind of interaction. And this will really, in my opinion, will really change the landscape of the AI adoption in insurance.
The world of insurance is changing because the world of tech is changing. Join us on the journey at ibactech.ca.